right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Super Grapple Bros podcast. This is episode 8. Jinder is a Far Cry 5 for champion, no more. This is the Super Grapple Bros podcast. As I said before, we are two brothers who are former WWE employees that happen to love wrestling and video games, and that's what we talk about here on the Super Grapple Bros podcast. That's our deal. That's our thing. That's what we like to chit-chat about and squabble and make jokes and be lame about.
So, over the course of this weekend, there were 2 shows. One on Saturday, one on Sunday. Can we talk about just Saturday?
No, we gotta talk about the one on Sunday, too.
But I don't want to.
I know. The one on Saturday was really good. The one on Sunday was meh with a bad ending.
It was so good. Talk about ups and downs.
Yeah, well, I am your host, Murpho, and I am joined by my brother,
DMurph, Dennis Murphy.
And so we are going to start off with that discussion of TakeOver Chicago, the Saturday show, NXT, which was phenomenal. But of course, before we get into that, we have to crown ourselves a predictions champion. Or do you want to do it after we go over the 2 shows? You want to do that now or after we go over the
whichever
results of the 2
you
shows?
would prefer. Here, let me ask you a question quickly. What match type has John Cena never lost in?
A last man standing match?
No.
A match that involves seeing him?
No. I'll give you a hint. Mick Foley invented the match.
Hell in a Cell match?
Nope. He lost to The Rock in the first ever match.
Oh, I quit match.
Oh, you quit? All right, I'll take the title.
No. Damn. No, it doesn't work like that. That's not how this works. Not how any of this works. What we'll do is we will go over the shows first, and then we'll crown a champion. We have a predictions champion, and the champion has been crowned, which we got our replica WWE World Heavyweight belt just off screen, waiting to be presented to the winner. But we're gonna go over the shows first. Also, as we do that, I'm going to really quickly go over my card for Raw for our WWE Universe mode, and we're going to transition over to Wabam right there. Actually, we're going to go talk about NXT because I got to start the show and watch the film. So Wabam, you guys will be here. You guys get to see the little show animation, and we're going to kick off the discussion of NXT TakeOver Chicago. Kicking things off was Roderick Strong versus Eric Young.
Yep, it was a good match.
Very good match.
I loved how it started with Roddy coming out of the crowd and attacking Killian Dane and
that was great.
Wolf.
That was great. That was very smart, and it showed that Roderick Strong had learned from his not just his previous interactions with Sanity, but he learned from the whole Ty Dillinger situation with Sanity, where I gotta jump them so that way I don't get my ass kicked right out the get-go.
Exactly.
So it was really good. Roderick Strong did indeed look strong.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Young looked good despite the loss, I think.
Yeah.
Really not much else to complain there. It was a good wrestling match. The right guy won. I mean, either guy could have won and it would have been the right guy, but I think it is better to have Roddy win because if you want to build him up to be a NXT champion with the push they've been giving him, you really don't want to have him lose to Eric Young. Whether or not he's done with Sanity yet is yet to be seen. Whether or not this will be a thing that happens regularly. And I cannot turn that down, so hold on one second. I totally forgot to turn the volume down on the TV. That's on me. You go ahead and you keep talking about
Once again, we are also welcomed to TLC instead of Monday Night Raw.
It's Monday Night Raw. Yeah. All right, there we go. That's still low.
But yeah, it was a good match. Ended well. Following match, though, I say, personally, I think not only match of the weekend, not only match of the month, I think probably match of the year.
It's definitely in there for match of the year candidate.
Yeah.
But before we mention what match that is, we'll leave people in suspense.
Luke Harper, Eric Grapple.
Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? Anyway, Wabam, we're gonna go to full screen for the game. We have got ourselves Raw. This is my Raw for the week, where I will play the main event, break down the card for you guys, and sim through the card until I get to the main event. Starting off with a self promo by John Cena. And Brock Lesnar comes out, interrupts him, and wins the promo. They are battling one another in the main event tonight. Their heated rivalry continues. Then we got the U.S. Champion Rusev the U.S. Champion Kevin Owens battling Rusev. in a one-on-one match.
The US
Intercontinental Champion.
There you go.
I'm sorry, I forgot. Because they swapped in real life.
Yep.
I keep getting confused sometimes. Rusev beat the Intercontinental Champion. Might we have a new number one contender after Austin Aries battles Kevin Owens?
We shall see.
Then we got the New Day, Woods and Kingston taking on the Ascension, Connor and Victor. They are in a rivalry, and the New Day are victorious, not glorious, but victorious, and they have got 2-week momentum.
They're victorious over Victor.
Yes, they are victorious. Then Roman Reigns gets a self-promo in. Then we got a 6-man tag match. Jericho, Rollins, and Strowman battling Zayn, Balor, and Kalisto. These guys have all been battling one another on and off throughout the course of the last month and a half. And Jericho, Rollins, and Strowman emerge over Zayn, Balor, and Kalisto. Then we've got a 2-on-2 elimination tag match. The Raw champions, the Hardy Boys versus Mojo, Rawley, and Zack Ryder. The Hardys, of course, win. They have not lost, I don't think. I believe they have not lost a match since we've started Universe Mode. Austin Aries with a call out on Kevin Owens, and then Kevin Owens won the promo against Kevin Owens. Bayley versus Becky Lynch to determine who faces Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's Championship, and Bayley defeats Becky Lynch, so Bayley will get herself a rematch against Sasha Banks at the next pay-per-view, which I do not believe is Extreme Rules because we just did Extreme Rules.
No, she won't. Well, she might actually.
And Sasha Banks?
It depends on which of your titles you want. Because remember, last pay-per-view you got 4 matches, and I had 3. This next one, I have 4.
Well,
you have 3.
she's the new number one contender then.
Yeah.
She will get a rematch. She had to fight through 2 people in order to earn another rematch. Then we got Shinsuke Nakamura versus Eric Rowan. Nakamura won.
Rowan.
And then we've got, rounding it out, John Cena and Brock Lesnar once again collide in their rivalry, which I will be playing out. So, after I just, delayed for about a couple minutes, what was that match of the year from NXT TakeOver Chicago?
No, it was the United Kingdom Championship match. Tyler Bate defending his title against Pete Dunne.
The Bruiserweight.
The Bruiserweight Pete Dunne. And god damn.
What a freaking match.
It was so good.
Match of the year. I think that might have been, I might be overestimating, or my memory might not be good from last year, but that might have been better than the, best match from last year. That might not just be match of the year 2017. That might be match of 2017 and 2016.
Yeah.
Because goddamn, those two just went balls to the wall.
They went
all out.
It was insane.
Yeah, Unstoppable commenting, by the way, that the match was amazing, which it was. Yeah. And hey, Unstoppable.
Hello. Here's one thing I want to point out about that match, which is what I have to say I think is why WWE should invest in matches like this more. Mm-hmm. I have a coworker that I work with named Ed. If you're listening, hey Ed. Ooh. Apparently,
Brock Lesnar just attacked John Cena on the entrance ramp during his entrance. But let's keep talking about this UK Championship match.
Right. But and Ed never really watched NXT. All he didn't watch UK Championship. All he really watched was Raw and SmackDown and the pay-per-views. And I've been telling him for a while, you should watch the NXT shows. I was telling him NXT TakeOver is gonna be the night before what was it? Backlash was the pay-per-view? Yeah.
Yes.
And I was telling him you should watch it, and apparently he listened to me. And when I saw him on Monday, we went to talk, and I didn't think he had seen the show. And I was like, so let's get this talk over with about what happened on Backlash. He's like, no, let's talk about TakeOver first, because that UK Championship match, that was amazing. And he told me that he was going crazy, just like the crowd on TV all that. And I think that just goes to show, this guy mostly watches for, I'm going to say, like I said, Raw, SmackDown, the pay-per-views and stuff. And he happened to tune in on my suggestion, and he got taken over, no pun intended, by that match and how good it was. And I just think that just goes to show how great that was. This guy who has no idea who these guys are comes in, watches that match, and is just blown away by it.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Those two, what they did was something special on Saturday night. And that was one of the best wrestling matches I may have ever seen in my life.
I agree.
Bate and Dunne, you could also tell from how good that match was, the fact that they were that they did get along and know each other so well from being in the UK Indies together and being in the same stable together.
Yeah.
in the UK indie scene, and just they're both something special. Like I can't tell. Like honestly, before that, like Bate may have like some really good like may not be like the best charismatically from what we've seen so far, but what the hell is happening here? Big suplex. I think the ref's gonna call this.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna end in a no contester with Lesnar beating up Cena. Yeah, Lesnar beats up Cena, and what was a draw, but it's a physical and emotional win for Lesnar as this feud rages on, and Raw is over already.
Yeah, there you go.
But like Dunn is the complete package. Like
he is amazing.
I think
definitely my favorite from the UK Championship tournament and everything.
Bate might have the better wrestling ability, but like it's not by a large margin. It's probably very slow. I would say Bate's the better wrestler, only just slightly. But Dunn also has that charisma and that physical, visceral. Like you feel him when he wrestles. You feel him hit people.
I don't think it's so much that he's the better wrestler. I think they're same level with wrestling. I think it's the fact that he's stronger, that he's able to do a little bit more and make things more impactful.
And he owns his character more than Bate.
Exactly.
Yeah. But just the amount of the maneuvers they pulled off, the amount of like the counters and false finishes, that airplane spin by Tyler Bate. I think it's the best airplane spin I've ever seen in my life. I never get excited about an airplane spin. I'm like, oh, it's an airplane spin. Ooh, he gets the guy's dick. No, he freaking spun it. I literally thought that Bate was going to like lose his balance. They were going to crash and burn outside the ring. He was spinning so fast.
I was watching it, and all of a sudden at one point I was just like, holy shit, he needs to slow down.
Yeah, exactly. I thought the same way. And then that finish was insane. You thought like Bate was going to win it. Bate had the momentum. Bate was going for it. And then Bate just dove out of the ring. And it was as if these two watched Shawn Michaels and Undertaker and saw that screwed up dive from Undertaker. Like, let's do that. Let's not have somebody try to catch you. Let's just do that. Where you jump out, I'm gonna move out of the way. I'm gonna shit can you, and you're just gonna hit the outside hard.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of like that takes some balls on Tyler Bates' behalf to be like, I know I'm going to do this, and I know I am just going to eat it. I'm just gonna eat nothing but the floor.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Dunn, like, picks him up, throws him in the ring, hits his finisher, and it was all over.
It was so good.
Phenomenal match. Like, I gotta watch it over again. It was amazing.
And one thing that I'm hoping for, I doubt this will happen because of the way WWE is, maybe they'll do it for SummerSlam. I would like to see it more at WrestleMania because it seems more of a WrestleMania match, but especially with how far away that is. If you think about it, now the finals of the UK Championship match, it was Bate versus Dunn, and Bate came out victorious. Now, at this TakeOver match, it was Bate versus Dunn. Dunn came out victorious. They need to have a blow-off match with these two at some point.
They're not done. They're not done.
And I think if you're going to do it any time, don't do it at a TakeOver. Like I said, what I mentioned about how there was this guy that I know, knew nothing about these guys, was blown away, thought it was amazing. You gotta put these guys doing that on an actual pay-per-view. I think they should do it at SummerSlam, if not save it somehow for WrestleMania.
I think it's gonna happen at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3. Hey Cameron, by the way, welcome to the show, welcome to the podcast. I think it's gonna happen at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, but if it happened at SummerSlam, I would be all for it.
Yeah,
I feel like they might have more freedom at NXT TakeOver to do the kind of crazy stuff they need to do.
Yeah, they'll probably have more freedom for it, but I would rather see it be on actual SummerSlam.
Now, here's a question. Like, I know what I want to see, but I just want to poll you and maybe poll the guys in the chat as well. Would you rather see Dunn and Bate go at it one-on-one, or Dunn beat I can't remember his actual full name, but Mustache Mountain.
I'm just gonna point out, I believe that's their tag team name, him and Tyler Bate.
Well, that's him and Tyler.
Trent Seven.
Trent Seven. Well, that's Trent Seven's nickname, and it's also the name of him and Bates' tag team name.
Well,
Trent
that's where they say he's from.
Yeah. Dunn beat Trent Seven in the semifinals in the UK show,
and he beat him
or the finals of the UK show to earn the #1 contendership or whatever it was.
He beat him
in the semifinals and then beat him in the UK #1 contendership match.
Wolfgang. beat Trent Seven in the semifinals, and then Tyler Bate beat Wolfgang.
Okay.
But yeah, he beat Trent. Pete Dunne beat Trent Seven at Friday's UK special.
Yeah. And also, I believe Trent Seven battled Bate in an NXT taping for the UK title and lost as well.
Trent Seven I'm trying to remember all of them. Trent Seven faced Tyler Bate on just a regular NXT for the title.
Yeah. And lost.
And
But
he's also defended the title against Mark Andrews.
Yeah, here's where I'm going with this though. They've both faced Trent Seven. Trent Seven was the next guy right behind Dunne based on the UK show. All three of those guys are the three members of the UK indie stable British Strong Style. Would you prefer to see Dunne Bate 3? Or would you like to see Trent Seven get involved and make it a British Strong Style triple threat match?
I personally would like to see there be a little bit of a distance with Dunne and Bate for a little while. I'd like to see, they've been building up Wolfgang, have, Dunne and Wolfgang versus Wolfgang, have Dunne versus Trent Seven, have Dunne versus Mark Andrews, Dunne versus Joseph Connors, like have them go through a couple people. Maybe at one point do a triple threat match between the three of them. Maybe have something like the way Trent Seven gets in it is he ends up beating Tyler Bate in a match for a number one contendership. And then later on down the road, because they've got, each of them facing each other constantly having these
maybe
good matches.
Have them like swapping number one contenderships and stuff. Maybe have Mark Andrews in the event, and then maybe when it rolls around to WrestleMania, you'd say like maybe when it's like NXT TakeOver New Orleans, maybe then do the triple threat match. You think?
Yeah, something like that. Either, like I said, either triple threat match or then do the blow off match.
Mm-hmm. Cam thinks that if he wants to see a UK match at a big pay-per-view, he'd rather see Dunne battle Mark Andrews because apparently they have really good chemistry. Which
I agree, but we've seen him wrestle twice already.
Yeah, I would love to see Mark Andrews and Pete Dunne battle eventually for the title, but I feel like right now, Dunne and Bate are not done, and they need to have another singles match. I would love to see a British Strong Style triple threat match eventually because I would love to see Trent Seven involved. But what those two did, Dunne and Bate, at TakeOver, I feel like you have to put that on to TakeOver Brooklyn 3, if not on SummerSlam. Like, that has to happen. They need to go one more time. Yeah. Unstoppable believes that he would like to see the triple threat as opposed to the singles match.
Triple threat would be good, but I feel like at some point in the future, they are eventually... Kind of like how, I think, with what they've done with Roman Reigns and Finn Balor, they've had two singles matches that were both on Raw, and they each came away with one. They eventually have to have a one-on-one match between the two of them to have like a blow-off for that. I would love to see a triple threat, but I'm saying at some point I need to see those two in one-on-one again. They could do the triple threat first, doesn't matter to me, but I need to see both of those matches.
Yeah. I could talk about this match like all day long, but we got to move on because we've spent plenty of time on it. The next match that happened was the NXT Women's Championship match, Asuka versus Ruby Riott and Nikki Cross. That match went pretty much almost about as expected for me, except for the actual finish. Not in terms of who I thought would win, but the way that the finish actually happened.
Yeah.
Because Asuka pinned both women.
Yeah, which is kind of insane.
I think it's perfect storytelling, if you ask me. I think it's perfect storytelling because you're trying to build the fact that Ember Moon's gonna be the one to take Asuka down, and Asuka came this close. So not only does this win like elevate Asuka as like this huge who can stop it, but it also makes Ember Moon look good because it was like Ember Moon came this close on her own to beating Asuka, and Asuka had to use like a referee distraction and hitting the ropes while Ember was up there and injure Ember in order to keep her out of the picture to save her championship.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, Ruby Riott just came out of the scene in NXT. Nikki Cross hasn't been around for too long. I think they'll recover. I think they'll go on to have a great rivalry between the two of them, and they'll be able to build themselves back up once Asuka's gone. And I think they'll be able to pose threat. They can build them back up. There's time. They're going to be there for a while. So if you ask me, like, I was shocked that she pinned both people, but when you think about it, like, it's kind of perfect booking.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And like I said, I was mostly surprised.
Cam says Asuka is better than Goldberg. Technically, no, because Asuka has to go through a full match in order to squash her opponents and beat her opponents.
He's saying that because I don't know if you heard the news, but as of this week, Asuka has now officially surpassed Goldberg in being the longest reigning undefeated champion in all of WWE history, longer than Goldberg's undefeated title reign in WCW. So she is now the longest undefeated champion in WWE history.
I mean, it makes sense. With the 4 horsewomen gone, she's a dominant person, and they basically had to rebuild the entire women's division under her and Bayley. And then Bayley went up, so it's pretty much been just her. And just now, Ember Moon's getting to where she needs to be. Nikki Cross is there. Ruby Riot's there. Peyton Royce and Billie Kay are finally getting to where they need to be. Like, Liv Morgan's starting to get built up. You've got other girls coming in. Like, the division is finally replenishing itself. But it took all that time while Asuka was champion.
And starting this summer, they're going to be having the they've officially named it. They've been saying that they're going to have a women's championship, similar to they did the Cruiserweight Classic and everything. It's officially being called the Mae Young Classic, and it starts in July.
The women's tournament, you mean?
Yeah.
You said women's championship.
The women's tournament. So you're going to start seeing a lot more people brought into WWE.
Yeah, have we gotten any confirmations as to who's going to be in the tournament yet, or are we still waiting on that?
I think we're still waiting on it. I don't remember if anyone's been named. But...
Okay. That'll be interesting. And then we move on, I believe, to... Did we... I forgot because this wasn't the main event. Then we went on to the NXT Championship match, Bobby Roode versus Hideo Itami. Which was so much better than I thought it was going to be. Holy hell, that was a good match. Good. That was a really good match. Like, that made me be like, I don't want this Bobby Roode and Hideo Itami rivalry to be over. Like, that match... Like, you know how, like, Hideo Itami came back from injury and it was kind of like, yeah, Hideo's back, but he's kind of in the shadow of Shinsuke now, and he's kind of hurt. Is he going to get hurt again? Can we get excited about him? That match just made me super excited for Hideo Itami.
Yeah.
Like, I got behind it 100%. I'm like, yes, the old Kenta's back. He's kicking ass and taking names. And what a match. Like, what a great job by Bobby Roode, by the way, to sell his shoulder during that entire match. That was great. And the finish made both guys look great. Itami hits the GTS after kicking out of Roode's DDT. Yeah. Makes Itami look great because he kicked out of Roode's finisher. Makes Roode look good because his shoulder was worked, so he didn't get all of it. And then Itami hits the GTS on Roode. Makes Itami look good because Roode had to roll out of the ring to not get pinned, so he didn't lose. And then in order to beat Itami, Roode had to hit Itami with back-to-back roll-through Impaler DDTs.
Yeah, glorious DDTs.
Yeah, glorious Impaler DDTs. That was awesome. That whole spot of him rolling through and hitting it twice was amazing. And he sold the shoulder the entire time too. Like, he was like wincing in pain, screaming in pain. Felt like he was struggling, clutched his shoulder. Mm-hmm. Great match. Freaking great match. Like, that was honestly, like, after the dud that Roode and Nakamura had at NXT TakeOver Orlando, like, I was like, I don't know what to make of this, because Itami, you know, we haven't seen him really go balls to the wall before. Roode just came off a championship defense where he didn't look like gold for like the first time since he's been in NXT, and they just killed it. It was amazing.
Yeah,
and then
it makes me excited for when they eventually move Itami up to the main roster.
Yes. And then one last thing I will touch up on with that match is that did you see the .com exclusive after the fact?
I did
with
not
Itami?
See it, but I heard about it.
It was great. Itami came in the locker room. Cassius Ohno was there and a couple other guys, and Itami's flipping out, like throwing stuff, flips a table, all that stuff. And Ohno's trying to get him to calm down, and like speak to him. He's like, "We're friends. Talk to me. And Itami just can't let it. He's so enraged by failing and losing to Roode that he snaps and he just starts flipping everything and destroying stuff. And I'm like, that's great. Because now not only does Itami, did Itami prove that he could go like he used to, but he just proved that he now has a character and a direction to go in.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just going to see an angry, bitter, pissed off Hideo Itami just kicking the living crap out of people.
And it looks like this will possibly set up for a Cassius Ohno Hideo Itami match,
which I will not complain about. That will be good.
Yep,
that'll be entertaining as hell. And then we'll get to SmackDown Live is ready, so we will get started with SmackDown Live. I just want to say, Cam mentioned that he cannot wait for Nixon Newell to come in to make the women's division better. I don't know Nixon Newell at all. I don't know if you know her, but if Cam's suggesting her, I'm sure she's good.
Yeah, I'm not.
You don't know her? All right. Well, let's go ahead and we'll switch over. Let's take a look at the card for SmackDown Live. Dennis, it's all you. Let us know what the match is like.
Oh no.
Did you accidentally sim?
Yeah, I accidentally simmed. Alright, whatever. So this is what happened apparently.
We can't even look to see what happened.
No, I can.
There we go. Okay.
We had Miz versus Cesaro, in which Cesaro won. We had the Revival, who are the new number 1 contenders for the tag titles.
I hope who you wanted to win in the main event won.
If not, oh well. So the Revival beat Golden Truth. Dolph Ziggler beat Sheamus. Bobby Roode did a self-promo. Samoa Joe beat Ty Dillinger.
Or Ty.
Mm-hmm. Gallows and Anderson beat the tag champs.
So they're now 1-1 since the title match?
Well,
since the title match. Because the Usos won last week, and now Gallows and Anderson won this week.
Yeah, they retained their titles last week. So they beat the Gallows and Anderson for the titles at the pay-per-view, and then they retained against them last week.
Okay.
Then Dean Ambrose won a triple threat match between himself, Randy Orton, and Baron Corbin. And let's see, the final match, I'm just going to say what the match was before I go to it, was AJ Styles ending his rivalry with Bray Wyatt in a WWE title defense against Bray Wyatt. And AJ Styles successfully retained.
I hope that's who you wanted to win.
I didn't really care, honestly.
You were just going to roll with it no matter what?
Yeah.
Okay, you know what we'll do since you're done? Moving on ahead. We normally just let NXT go. We've been thinking about doing Patreon stuff for it. But since we finished this early, what we'll do is as we talk about the rest of our matches, I'm just going to put the little screen on, and we'll go ahead and we will sim this week's NXT card for you guys, which is going to have Akam and Razor, the authors of Pain against Sanity. Hideo Itami's going to have a promo. Ember Moon versus Peyton Royce. They're in a rivalry. Eric Young versus Roderick Strong, which we saw at TakeOver. And then, I believe that's a tag match.
Yeah.
Cassius Ohno and Andrade Cien Almas versus DIY. And ain't that funny because of what happened next on NXT TakeOver, which was the main event of DIY versus the Authors of Pain in a ladder match. And real quick, Nabi Muhammad Nizal. Hello there, buddy. And Big Stupid, we're getting to that. We will be showing who we're going to be going over the results in full. We'll break down the predictions after TakeOver. Ooh, thank you, Novel, by the way, for the follow. Appreciate it, as it covers my face. We're about to finish up NXT. We'll go over our NXT predictions, show you guys the score at that time, and then we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna break down.
Well, we're starting to go a little long. We got
Backlash, and then we will reveal the championship thing. So yeah, all right. I'm gonna start this. We're just gonna sim this for fun, so that way there's something on in the background while we talk. So yeah, Authors of Pain versus DIY, the ladder match. That was another great match.
Was good.
Very good match.
They are alive, and I'm glad they survived because people almost died, and it was good.
Mm-hmm. They did almost kill themselves in that ladder spot.
So scared for Gargano.
Oh yeah,
in two different points.
Yeah,
because that second shot where fucking he pushed Ciampa out of the way, he did not put up his hands at all, and they did not hold back on that
no, they
shot.
did not. He got killed.
My God.
He got freaking killed.
Holy crap.
It was a really good match. That ladder spot where they both they got away from the Super Collider, put both Akam and Razor on ladders, and then jumped off and both like overshot and landed on their domes. That was scary but awesome.
The German off the ladder through the
I was really hoping in the end when the Authors of Pain did win the match via the Super Collider Powerbomb, I was really hoping for a finish where as Akam and Razor grabbed Gargano and Ciampa for the Super Collider, that they were going to both pull off the belts and win and the bell was going to ring, but Akam and Razor was going to hear it, Super Collider Powerbomb DIY, but then see that they were holding the titles and that they lost, and then flip out and then maybe beat up on them some more. I think that would have been cool.
That would have been interesting.
But instead, we got the Super Collider and Jacob and Razor went up and got the titles,
Yeah.
and they won. So
And then we saw the same thing that happened at the end of the first round of the Cruiserweight Classic, where when Gargano beat Ciampa in the final match of the first round of the Cruiserweight Classic, and they just kind of sat there, and Ciampa put his arm around him and everything. And then Gargano, I guess, had flashbacks to that, and I guess Ciampa thinks Gargano's holding him back and just beat the living crap out of him. And the thing that I liked the most about that, because I don't think it was a smart idea, but the thing that I liked about it was how he hit him with a few knee strikes and everything, and he was sitting on the area where he'd hit him, and he was crawling up to him and like grabbing at him, looking at him like he knows that he's hurt, but he's been hurt so bad that he's just going to whatever he feels is safe and is going to Ciampa, who's the one beating him up, and just kind of being like, help me, why help me? And he just keeps going after him. I mean, I just like that little touch in there.
It was a great moment to cap off an amazing night, but I have a problem with it.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's great that because Ciampa can really tap into the psycho killerness of his character, which he did there. But I don't like the breakup of DIY because I think they were a great team. They were super over. And I'm going to say it, as much as I love Ciampa and Gargano, in the landscape of the WWE, I feel like they are a great tag team, but I don't think they will survive and thrive as two solo acts.
At least not at this point. Oh.
Will they have a great rivalry against one another? Yes, it will be amazing. They will kick the crap out of each other, and we will be getting their match, like stuff like the match that they had the Cruiserweight Classic last year, like multiple times over, and it's going to be amazing. My problem is, after that, what's next? What do you do?
I have a theory about this.
Because, well, let me just finish this real quick. Because, like, after they win, if Ciampa emerges, then he'll have basically crushed Gargano. If Ciampa emerges, then what will you do with Gargano if the Psycho Killer thing? And right now, the NXT landscape is for the championship is so cluttered right now. You've got Drew McIntyre, who's probably going to be the one to beat Bobby Roode for the title. You got Bobby Roode, who has a championship, and who knows when he's going to get moved up. You've got Hideo Itami, you got Cassius Ohno, you've got Aleister Black, you've got I already mentioned Drew McIntyre, but Cien Almas could probably be competing for it soon. You got Roderick Strong, you've got Eric Young. Like, there's so many people there that, like, putting Gargano and Ciampa in there, like, I hate to say it, I love those two, but unless they're feuding and in a rivalry with one another for the title, like, I don't think, like, the writers or the bookers are going to put them in a title program against one another. So, like, then the question is asked, what do? Do you put them back together and have them somehow reconcile their differences? Do you give them a greater common enemy that forces them to come back together after they beat the hell out of each other? Do you move them up to the main roster? And even then, like, you've got two guys who are great and established as a tag team, but are maybe okay as solo acts, like trying to make it on the main roster with almost no build. Like, I feel like last night or Saturday night was a short-term solution for a short-term problem and created a long-term problem as a result.
Here's what I think is going to happen based on what I think. What I was originally thinking was that this was going to be, their last match before they move up to probably SmackDown or something.
Yeah,
as
that's
a
what a lot
tag
of
team.
people thought.
What I'm thinking is going to happen now is, with the way that things have gone with some of, interesting, two different tag team champions. Whatever. But what I think is going to happen is, I mean, we've seen it with some of the superstars going up from NXT to WWE. Like, with, what's his name? Tyler Breeze and stuff. How they move up to WWE and they don't really get the reception that they think that they should get. And I think Triple H, possibly, with NXT, isn't caring as much about what happens with people when they move up to WWE, like storyline-wise, as he used to, because he'd send people up there with great momentum and everything, and they'd just kill it for like no reason. Not only did that happen with Tyler Breeze, but like a bunch of the tag teams, like the Ascent, like the only tag team I could think of that came up from NXT and have done great with it is the Revival.
American Alpha.
Well, American Alpha too, but I mean we don't even see them on TV anymore.
Are Jason Jordan or Chad Gable hurt right now? Maybe?
I don't think so, but what I think the plan is going to be is more or less they're gonna brawl, they're gonna fight, and it's gonna lead to a huge match at TakeOver Brooklyn.
Oh yeah,
and I think that Monday Night Raw in Brooklyn and Tuesday Night SmackDown in Brooklyn, you're gonna see Ciampa and Gargano show up
on different brands.
Yeah, on the opposite shows.
It could be something they could do. It could work. I'm just scared for them in solo careers because I don't know how each of them would do solo wise. I feel like they would middle around in the mid card of the roster. So, but you never know. I mean, Gargano is really good at the psycho killer personality. Ciampa's really good as an underdog face.
You flipped that.
Johnny.
The Sarko.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. Ciampa's the psycho killer. Gargano
is Johnny Wrestling.
Johnny Wrestling, the great underdog. I don't know why I confused them like that. Big Stupid said you can move them to 205 Live. I hope to God they don't, because 205 Live to me is a death sentence.
Yeah, but one thing I will point out quickly, because I didn't watch 205 Live, but one thing I heard about it is apparently fucking Tozawa and Kendrick had a hell of a match. But the thing that got my attention about that, unfortunately, because once again, this is the way 205 Live works, is I saw an image show up on my Facebook about a tweet that Tony Nese set up, where it was an image of it was a picture of Tozawa crashing onto Kendrick on top of a table, like he was midair about to go through him on the table, and he just did a little red circle in front of like one or two guys in the front row right next to them on their phones, not paying attention. And he just made the post being like, if you're gonna pull that kind of crap, stay home and leave the seats for other people, and called them losers and stuff.
Who said that?
Tony Nese.
I mean,
he's kind of got a point.
Yeah, but that's also a symptom of the putting 205 Live on after SmackDown.
Yeah, they should have done it beforehand, but whatever.
But yeah, like to me, I feel like 205 Live has become a kiss of death for most of those guys, unless you're Neville, Austin Air, unless you're some of the guys who are getting like the consistent top billing and being on Raw every single week, like TJ. Like unless you're TJ, unless you're like the guy in the top program at 205 Live, and you're also appearing on Raw and on the pay-per-views, it's really just spinning your wheels at that point.
Yeah, and it's also annoying because even with that, it's okay. We're gonna see TJP versus Austin Aries. We're going to see Neville versus Jack Gallagher. We're going to see TJP versus Jack Gallagher. And at the pay-per-views, we'll see Neville versus Austin Aries. And it's, okay, we've seen these matches like 8 times now. Can you throw someone else in the mix and
well, they did that
up?
This week on Raw. They had Tony Nese on Raw.
Yeah, and they also had Tozawa recently, but I'm just saying, like, it's about time, because for the longest time, that's all they were really doing.
But we're deviating. Anyway, Gargano and Ciampa, that's the belief. Unstoppable had one other theory where you could just move them up eventually, like after they have their rivalry, and maybe have them feud with the tag champs. Like if it's a Revival, like maybe they show up on the main roster as a tag team and they're all buddy because they've settled out their differences in their rivalry or something like that.
Maybe, but
which could potentially happen. But I feel like unless there's a moment where in their last match they apologize to each other in the ring and embrace and whatnot, and then they show up together, that might not work.
I do not think that's going to happen because of the fact that this whole scenario happened because of the fact that, Ciampa seemed to be getting fed up with Gargano between him costing him in the Cruiserweight Classic and then losing in the very next round, him costing them the tag titles, him costing them constantly. I think it's more or less a matter of Ciampa being fed up with it. And I mean, if Gargano wins, Ciampa is not going to be like, all right, whatever, because he's already won and just dealt with it. But if Ciampa wins, he's just going to be like, okay, whatever, and leave him there. I don't see anyway with them having a big match and it ending with them becoming friends again.
We'll see.
It'd be nice if it happened, but I do not see that happen.
I do know that a lot of people would go nuts if they did reunite again, especially if it was on the main roster.
I know. I was hoping that they'd show up on SmackDown.
We're
but whatever.
We're kind of dragging this conversation out for a while, so we need to move on. Because we're only just done with TakeOver. We got a lot of stuff to cover.
Yeah.
So basically, just going over the predictions from TakeOver Chicago.
We came out even.
We came out even at 4-4. We both had Authors of Pain. We both had Asuka. I had Pete Dunne. You had Roderick Strong, and we both had Bobby Roode.
Yep.
So we are tied 4-4 going into Backlash. Which, let's talk about Backlash.
All right, let's go through this quickly. Ty Dillinger versus It Ain't English. Ty Dillinger won. There we go.
It did what it needed to do.
Yep. One quick note I'll make. I like his new version of the tiebreaker. It's neat.
The like TKO to the knee.
Yeah. It's neat. And then after that we had Shinsuke Nakamura debuting against Dolph Ziggler.
It's all right.
Good match.
It was all right. Like, it wasn't as good as I was expecting it to be. I thought Nakamura was going to just go ham on Ziggler. Not squash him per se, but at one point he would go ham and just beat the hell out of him and win.
Just like dominate him. But,
I will say, though, that super kick to the back of the head that Ziggler gave to Nakamura was gross. Yep. It was awesome.
But it did what it needed to.
So, yeah, it did what it needed to. Then we had Breezango versus the Usos, which to me, honestly, I think was match of the night.
I'm looking at. No, it wasn't.
I think
it was second match.
I think to me the Breeze stuff was hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing. The commentators were making good commentary, which kind of makes me feel bad because I laughed at JBL jokes.
That is true.
But
I did love that match. I loved with Tyler Breeze with all of the different outfits. Grandma Breeze, it was amazing. But the Usos ended up winning.
The Usos needed to win that match. They're going to go on to a program against, which was proven, I think, by the events of SmackDown. They're going to go on to a program against the New Day, which I think is going to be amazing. I don't think this really. Some people have been saying that this outcome and what happened on SmackDown hurts Breezango, the Fashion Police, but I don't really think it does that much. I still think they look good. Like, I think the Tuesday stuff was weird, but still look good.
Yeah.
Then moving on to Sami Zayn versus Baron Corbin. That
was a pretty good match, yeah.
That was one of my favorite matches of the night.
I was honestly surprised Sammy won that.
I was too, but I mean, I guess it makes sense. He's the more experienced veteran of it, so even though he's the underdog and he's not as strong, he's the veteran wrestler compared to him and Corbin, so it works. And it keeps their program going because Corbin gets fueled, because Corbin losses fuel Corbin via rage, so it helps.
Well, I'm just going to point out that whole veteran thing. I'm going to bring that into play later on in the talk, but let's keep going. Welcoming Committee versus Naomi, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch.
That was a crap show.
It did not have the one thing I wanted.
It was not good.
I literally said there was one thing I wanted, and they did not give me the one thing I wanted.
Nope, they did not do anything with Ellsworth. It was just... And then Becky Lynch taps out to the sharpshooter, which I feel like almost no female superstars tap out to anymore.
Yeah.
Like, that move, I feel, has lost a lot of its mojo.
Natalia's finisher, but I mean, it's just... It was
not good.
At best.
It was not good.
But moving on to what I think was the match of the night. United States Championship match, Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles.
I thought it was okay.
I thought it was great, especially the way it ended.
Oh, I really liked the finish. It was a perfect finish. I just felt like the match itself was kind of okay. It was like nothing that really like drove me crazy or had me going.
Yeah, well, I feel like it was the best wrestling match of the night. Okay. Like Breezango and the Usos, it was good. I loved it, but how can I not love Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles? It was good. Mm-hmm. Technically, it was very good.
Yeah, Cam did say that he would have liked the tag match more if it was for the titles, because he thinks that since it was for the titles that Breezango should have taken the match more seriously. Which, I mean, that's kind of a point, but in my opinion, it's like technically maybe that wasn't really Breezango being silly. Maybe it was more Breezango just, like, specifically Breeze doing all that stuff to try and play mind games and freak out the Usos and throw them off their game.
Yeah, that's one thing I want to point out is that the announcers also pointed out is that the beginning of the match was mostly Breezango because of the fact that Tyler Breeze was so in their head with all those different costumes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think it wasn't so much of them just being silly, it was them getting in the heads of the Usos and playing
Trying to
mind
mess
games,
with the Usos and get them off their game.
And it was working.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it was a bad thing for it to be a tag title match and have that happen, because it was, hey, any advantage you could get over the champions is good, and that was an advantage they had over the champions, and it was working until the end. But.
Yeah. And now we'll move on to Luke Harper versus Eric Rowan. Luke Harper won. Okay, let's move on.
Yep.
Because that was kind of a bad match.
Okay. Now, I just want to point out, could you just read out loud quickly the bold, underlined, capital words that I put down here next?
Yeah, guys, I'm going to say my piece on this coming up next, because I've got some thoughts on it. But he's going to go nuts on this.
Yep.
It's not a spoiler alert, fellas. It's a rant alert.
Yep.
DMurph here is going to probably go spouting lots of loud, potentially angry words about the main event.
This is going to be the preview. I'm going to go off the fucking rails. Go ahead. You say your piece,
Christ.
and then I will go.
So, Randy Orton versus Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal won because the Singh brothers got involved, which had a hilarious freaking moment. Like I actually made a tweet that said, that was like, Breezango, oh man, we were hilarious out there. We had the crowd in stitches. And it was Randy Orton, hold my beer. And then it was just a gif of him just practically backflipping one of the Singh brothers onto his neck onto the announcer table. And then his face was freaking hilarious.
Yeah,
oh my God.
A needing to go and trying to turn into a... So it just, it was beautiful.
And Jinder Mahal, like, the match itself was kind of It wasn't even really that entertaining of a match. Like, it was decent. It wasn't anything that blew my mind. It wasn't necessarily bad. But thanks to a distraction from the Singh brothers, we now have a new WWE Champion. And I'm sure this is because of the fact that WWE is trying hard to expand into India. Jinder Mahal is your WWE Champion. I don't like this really much at all. I did say congratulations to Jinder, and I do sincerely mean that. Congrats to Jinder. I know he's had his trials and tribulations, and anybody who has spent years in the business and gets there, I feel they deserve congratulations because they've worked hard to get there. However, I still do not like the decision because I don't think Jinder Mahal really is that good of a wrestler right now. I think his angle was rushed and his push was way too quick. They should have slow built it. And this was another point that was brought up. I was watching What Culture videos, and the What Culture guys were saying, you know, some of the guys in the back were like, you know, you should give him a chance. You know, he needs to have a chance to have a good match. And it's like, but the counter argument says, when did he last have a good match? Can you name the last time he had a good match? And anybody who should be competing for the WWE Championship to be on the level of Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, the Macho Man Randy Savage, HBK Shawn Michaels, and The Undertaker, they should have a resume of really good matches. There are guys like Drew McIntyre. There are guys like Sami Zayn, like Kevin Owens, like AJ Styles again, like Seth Rollins again, like Dean Ambrose again. I could probably list a bunch of guys. Kalisto's had better matches than Jinder Mahal. Apollo Crews, even though he doesn't have charisma, has it. There are a bunch of guys in NXT. Like Jinder Mahal, I hate to say it, he was the worst part of 3MB. Heath Slater had entertaining charisma, Drew McIntyre had the wrestling skill, and Jinder Mahal was just there. And he's the guy out of the three of them that wins the WWE Championship. So I'm happy for Jinder that he won. I'm happy that he's a champion. I'm happy that India has a champion for when they're going into the WWE. But this was way too soon, if you ask me, and I do not feel like it was properly earned because Jinder has not gained the resume that certain other people on the roster have. I feel like this would have been a great thing to do maybe 6 months from now or a year from now. Establish Jinder with the Singh brothers, build him up, have him win the U.S. Championship. That would be, or the Intercontinental Championship, whichever brand that title's on now. I think it's on SmackDown.
Yep.
That would be cool. That would be fun. Have him fight his way up to the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match. So that way, when he gets there, you can say, okay, he went hardcore with Sami Zayn and won. He went hardcore with Baron Corbin and won. He put on a hell of a match against AJ Styles, and then it's there. Instead, I feel like this was really, really rushed, and I feel like it weakens the WWE Championship and taints it a little bit. And I hate to say that because it's not like I don't like Jinder Mahal, the person. The booking behind this makes no sense to me. So I kind of went into a rant right there, unintended. But you go ahead and you let loose.
This is the first thing I am going to point out. Little information I'm guessing none of you really know about me. I work as a maintenance engineer for a building. And I'm going to say that if, I went and did something like accidentally set off a fire alarm in the building, had everyone evacuate, no one get injured or anything, but I make a mistake like that, I guarantee you my boss isn't going to look at me and say, you know what, you made that mistake today, but you know what, in about a month's time, we're going to promote you because of it. Why is it that this guy who came into WWE, came back, beat Heath Slater, then did practically nothing but job for months, and then the night last night on Monday Night Raw, injured your top fucking superstar of the show, goes over to the other show, and then becomes the world champion? One of the main things you're supposed to be in this business is safe in the ring, and he proved his last night on that show that he cannot be safe in the ring because he knocked out their top superstar. And now you're going to give him a world championship? That's not the way the world works. You mess up, you don't get a promotion, you don't get a bonus. He does not deserve that championship. People going on about don't hinder Jinder, don't hinder Jinder. I don't care about that. As you point out, you've got people like Sami Zayn and stuff on that brand who have been in the business longer, been busting their butts longer, deserve that championship. And one thing I want to point out is, why the hell are you putting Jinder Mahal in a championship match when you've got someone like Luke Harper there, who's been around for a while, is a hard worker, has taken all the necessary steps, and already has a storyline built up with this champion, and you push him to the side for this random guy who does not deserve this at all because of the fact that he can't seem to do his job properly, he can't put on great matches, he can't go through months without injuring someone, and you put him in the main event just because you made a deal with another country? It is BS. And the fact that you've got people like Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne putting on those kinds of matches on your developmental systems pay-per-view system, and you've got people like Jinder Mahal winning your WWE Championship, that is what is wrong right now. He is a man, I don't care how hard he works, you mess up, you don't deserve that top spot. He does not, good for him, good for you, Jinder, you got to where you need to be. But you do not deserve it. You've got people like, you've got Ravishing Rick Rude, who will never hold that prestigious championship. You've got Mr. Perfect, who will never hold that championship. Here's this little side thing. Wade Barrett, a man I feel deserved a shot at that championship, will never hold that championship because he is now injured. These are people who have deserved to hold that title that will never be able to do it, and now you've got a man like Jinder Mahal on that list not long after he injures another person in the ring. I don't think it's right. I don't think he should be there, and that is why I am not going to be watching SmackDown Live until he is no longer the champion, because I do not think that he deserves it, and if you're going to keep him that, I'm not going to give you my view. It just bothers me to no end that this guy who comes in and messes up his job after already doing a poor performance of the job gets shot straight to the top and given the championship when you've got people that deserve it a lot more on the roster and have a perfect opportunity like Luke Harper, and they get passed over to just be thrown in as a last-minute thought of a match against Eric Rowan, where they have one match, one little tiny segment on Talking Smack, which not that many people watch compared to the main shows, and then just gets thrown in a random match just to have a match and keep him out there. If that should have happened to anyone, that should have happened to Jinder Mahal. if anyone should have been in that main event that night, I think it should have been Luke Harper, because he's not doing anything else. He's already got a storyline with Randy Orton, and win or lose, he deserves that kind of shot and is not giving it. And it pisses me off that people like Jinder get that match, yet people like Luke don't.
Well, I mean, there is a good point there, in that, Jinder Mahal, he was really not that he was on the bottom of the barrel when it came to deserving of the championship. Well, not as far as, I don't want to say deserving, because I don't want to make it sound like I'm not happy for the dude. Like, he's in the bottom. He's at the bottom of the totem pole or pecking order.
It's good for him, but that doesn't mean, just because it's a good thing for him doesn't mean that he deserves it to happen to him.
It's a business decision. That's the big thing. It was WWE using their championship to make a business decision to increase money, which from a business standpoint, it was a good move. But from an entertainment standpoint, from a prestige of the championship standpoint, from a showing respect to the rest of the roster standpoint, I feel like it was a terrible move.
It was terrible all around, because Jinder Mahal does not equal money.
It wasn't terrible all around because having a champion of Indian descent, yes, he is Canadian, but he has Indian descent and ancestry. It helps to get people in India to buy the network, because they will buy the network to watch someone who is just like them being able to be the champion, and showing that an Indian wrestler can achieve the dream of being WWE champion.
An Indian wrestler already has, though. And he has a school in India.
But Khali was not champion when the network went to India.
I understand that, but I'm saying it's an idea of, oh, we do this and we could get a bunch of people in India to sign up. First off, you don't think they're going to sign up just by him being in the match to begin with? And secondly, they don't take into the fact of it wasn't that great of a match. He's not that good of a person to be a champion. You don't think that's going to equal losses throughout the rest of the world?
Well, we're going to have to see what happens. Like, you can argue that it's a bad business decision. I can argue that it's a good business decision. India has one of the largest population. Let me finish my point. India has one of the largest populations in the world, next to China. They want to corner that market. They want to get as many people from India buying the network as possible, and the best way for them to do that is to put a superstar of Indian ancestry up at the top of the card with the belt on them.
The thing is, though, I feel like this is an even worse situation for them, as you pointed out, of what they did with Ciampa and Gargano. It is a good thing for now, but as was pointed out, the prestige of the championship. Look who's going to be running. I think in the long term, it'll hurt the company more having Jinder Mahal win the championship than in the short term.
I don't know. Like, part of me thinks that it hurts the prestige, and I don't like it.
Exactly.
But I mean, the championship has survived. Guys like Great Khali having it. Guys like Sid Justice having it. Even you would say that Kevin Nash, when he was Diesel, his runs weren't that good. They've survived guys like Jack Swagger holding the World Heavyweight Championship.
But the difference is, all of those guys, with the exception of Jack Swagger, which has an exception on that, all those guys are still bigger names and bigger personalities and more entertaining than Jinder.
Khali wasn't really a bigger name when he showed up, though. Khali showed up, he was a big guy who could chop people in the head and pin them, and didn't have a lot of ring mobility, and just instantly got pushed to the top and became a champion.
But he's also a giant. I mean, if they had something like that with Jinder, I'd be like, well, it makes more sense, but he's same size as most of the other guys. He looks jacked, but he's actually, very similar to a lot of the other guys. And he's doing subpar matches. He doesn't have anything that's really making him special other than the fact that he has Indian heritage.
I'm not looking forward to the WWE Championship rivalries going forward for the foreseeable future from SmackDown until either Jinder Mahal starts proving that he can put on really, really good matches, or somebody who can put on really, really good matches and I'm not saying like decent matches like the match we saw Sunday. I'm talking like 4.5, 5-star matches like on a consistent basis. So unless he starts doing that, or until somebody who can and has takes the championship off of him.
But I mean,
and we'll see if it's a good business decision or not based on networks, subscriptions, numbers. We'll see how it does in India. We'll see if the buy rates are good. I don't think this decision, because you've got NXT, you've got Raw, I don't think this decision is going to cause people to quit the network and drop their subscription to the network. So we're just gonna have to see what the buy rates are to see if it was ultimately a good business decision like it looked to be. No, Unstoppable, you're not the only one who thinks about the steroid thing in Jinder.
Yeah. But one other thing I want to say quickly is, I think what would have been better, and I would have accepted this more, is if they waited till the next pay-per-view to pull the trigger, have Jinder come out of nowhere, win the Money in the Bank, and then that night cash it in. That would have gotten big buys for them on the network in India, and I think would have been a better way of doing it, because that's what makes Jack Swagger on the list more acceptable.
That might have,
but
yeah,
the
but
fact
that
that they
might
did
have
it
seen a
this
backlash
way.
even sooner. That might have been made an even worse backlash because it all would have happened the same night. But yeah, again, like if they knew they were gonna do this, like if they knew that like, because like the WWE, they knew they were going to India for a while. Like they had to have known for a while, for years. So like, why execute the Jinder plan when he was a glorified jobber out of nowhere so quickly? Like, to be fair, if they knew that they were going to expand in India and they wanted to do this with Jinder, they should have realized this sooner and they should have built Jinder better.
Yeah.
For me, I don't think this is so much of a Jinder Mahal, the person, problem. This is a booking of Jinder Mahal, the wrestler, problem.
Well, I don't think it's that he's a bad guy or anything. I'm just viewing it as a point of, you know, in the world we live in, you can work as hard as you want, but if you're not the best person in your field, you're not going to have the top position in your field. And that's what bothers me about it is, like, he's more of a just above apprentice level with how his matches have been, and he's not at like a master level like other people are.
He's getting better.
He's getting better, but he's not at the level yet, and you should not be given the things that you are not ready for.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree, but it's just it was a business decision. I understand the business decision. I don't like it.
I understand it, but I disagree with it.
That's the same thing with me. I don't like it. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I see why they did it, and it does make sense. So for me, I don't like it. So I will probably I'll be checking in for the sake of the podcast what Jinder is doing, but I don't think I will be like really caring much about what happens in the WWE title scene, really. But the rest of SmackDown Live, luckily, is really, really good, so I will still be watching SmackDown.
Yeah, I'm not just because the main things that I'm looking forward to with it happen at pay-per-views.
And one last thing I want to say before we move on, because we've been on this for a while, is one thing that I believe it was Jack the Jobber brought up at What Culture? On What Culture? I think it was Jack the Jobber who brought it up. I'm trying to remember my thought process because I'm losing it now. Why did he have to be from India and a heel foreigner?
Yeah,
why do they have to do that? Like
another thing that bothers me is why couldn't it be a face person from? Because now, yeah, we got someone from India. I mean, he's a bad guy, but yay, India.
Yeah, well, like why couldn't it be like, you guys don't respect me? Instead of, I think maybe what they thought was they knew that people weren't gonna like it, so they were like, let's just use that heat and just make him a heel to feed into the heat. But because who knows? I mean, maybe people would have bought into it more if they made him like more of a face where it's like, I know you guys don't like me, don't respect me, don't think I have what it takes. But what if they turned that on its head? It's like, because I'm not like you, because I'm from a different country, and I'm like, but I want to prove to you that like people of Indian descent can do this, and I will bust my ass and give off the best matches I possibly can to prove it. But then again, you also wouldn't have had really much to do with the Singh brothers unless, like, you wanted them there. So, but, like...
I think it was kind of a... they're going into India. They might as well. They have him as a heel. They want to keep him as a heel, especially since Randy Orton's a face. You might as well lean into it with all the stuff with Indian culture. Because if you're trying to get people to watch it in India, you might as well have someone who is going deep into the culture be the person to do it.
Yeah. Anyway, that was Backlash. And let's go over... Now it's on to predictions and the crowning of our first ever predictions champion. So as I said, after NXT TakeOver, we were both...
We're on TV.
Yep. After NXT TakeOver, we were both 4-4. So, we were at 4-4. We both picked Ty Dillinger, which was 5-5. You picked Luke Harper, so that was 6-5. I got Sami Zayn, 6-6. I got the Welcoming Committee, 7-6. We both had the Usos, 8-7. We both had Kevin Owens, 9-8. And then in the main event, to decide it all, I had Jinder Mahal, you had Randy Orton, so I won 10-8, and I am your first ever predictions champion. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get that championship, and I'm going to wear it for the rest of the podcast. It's going to feel good.
That I will point out is in 2 weeks, it's in danger, and it doesn't help you that there's matches like a Fatal 5-Way.
But we can both be wrong about that. This
True.
feels good. This is where it belongs. This is my
actually,
championship anyway. This is the championship that I won for the 2K16 Content Creators Tournament, so it's mine anyway. So it feels good to be right here to start things off right here at home.
One thing I do want to say quickly, because we've gone so far, can we just do very quick with Raw? Just say it was basically just build for Extreme Rules, and SmackDown it was just build for Money in the Bank.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Cam. It does look good on me. I think so too. Let's just quickly. We'll just say what happened. Real quick, because we're not gonna have a rant session. We can go through this like we did with Backlash. If it wasn't for the Jinder Mahal thing, we'd be fine. So with Raw, we had Reigns versus Wyatt. What happened with that one?
If I remember correctly, Samoa Joe came down. And
Samoa Joe came down and
Seth Rollins. No, he just got involved, and then Seth Rollins came down, and then Kurt Angle
set up the main event tag match.
Yeah.
Then we had Akira Tozawa versus Arya Daivari, and
it was good. It was just basically Tozawa being Tozawa and beat Daivari.
Elias Sampson had his in-ring debut after Kurt Angle sent him down to the ring. Kurt Angle, and then he sang. And Elias Sampson basically showed why he never really caught on as well in NXT as he is with the main roster, because he's good as a drifting person, but his singing voice is not really the best.
Yeah.
And it really grates on people. But I mean, I guess that works as a heel. Then I found out that Dean Ambrose was his opponent. Ambrose went down and battled him, and Ambrose won, I believe, correct? No, Samson won.
Basically, what happened is Samson walked into a promo with Angle, and Angle was like, you've been around here. I'm going to put you in a match. It's going to be against Dean Ambrose. Miz was on commentary. Miz came down to the ring, and then he hit Elias Sampson to give Elias Sampson the DQ victory, and then Elias Sampson hit Ambrose with his finisher after the match.
Okay. So interesting debut for Samson. Yep. I hope that he seems like he's got talent and ability, and he can be good. I just hope that he's put in a position to show it, because I don't think he was really put in the best position in NXT to do that.
Before he was put on Raw,
which is rare.
I was holding a long hope that when they eventually brought him up, they'd do something funny, since they look kind of similar, have him show up on SmackDown and be like, I've been drifting for a while. Luke Harper, I've been trying to find you because I'm your long-lost brother, as a little joke thing, but whatever. Then there was a Paul Heyman and Finn Balor promo, which
interesting.
I thoroughly enjoyed, setting up, hopefully, Lesnar versus Balor for the Universal title. Then we had Balor versus Carl Anderson, which was a good match, which I thoroughly enjoyed because they've been friends for a good long time.
Sasha Banks versus Alicia Fox happened next. Sasha got her win back, then Alicia attacked her back, so both ladies look strong.
Yep.
I like the fact that Alicia Fox is being portrayed more prominently on Raw, because she is a really good female wrestler.
Yeah, she's good. They just need to show up.
Female superstar, and it looks like they're going to have a nice little rivalry going on between the two of them.
And then we had Kalisto versus Apollo Crews. I don't even remember who won that. I
remember Kalisto won it. Basically, the match happened because Kalisto insulted the Titus brand and rejected. Yeah. Well, he rejected the Titus brand in Kalisto. So
I'm saying he won because Titus is kind of distracting Crews, but
yeah. And then Titus flipped out on Crews, so starting to build a little bit of the tension for the Titus brand angle. It's interesting.
And then
Hardy versus Sheamus. Matt Hardy won.
Announced steel cage match for Extreme Rules.
Yep, that'll be interesting. I was really hoping it was going to have something to do with the broken gimmick, but I guess we're still waiting on TNA to sign those goddamn rights away to WWE and Matt Hardy.
Austin Aries versus Tony Nese.
Aries won. Good build for the Cruiserweight Championship match. Alexa Bliss, Mickie James. Alexa beat up on Mickie, and Bayley made the save after the match because Alexa tried to beat up Mickie after the fact.
Sorry, I don't know that.
Shut up, Echo. You shut your damn mouth.
And then we had Bray Wyatt and Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins.
Which was a thing. Good match.
And Samoa Joe and Bray Wyatt came out the victorious.
Yep. Moving on. SmackDown. Shane McMahon announced all the competitors in the Money in the Bank ladder match for SmackDown, which is good.
Yeah.
Oh my god, am I excited for this match. It is AJ Styles, Sami Zayn, Baron Corbin, Shinsuke Nakamura, Dolph Ziggler, and Kevin Owens.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be a good one. I cannot freaking wait. It's going to be awesome.
It's basically what I figured was going to be, and I am very excited.
Early prediction. Who do you think is going to take the briefcase?
I don't know, honestly. I think it could be either maybe Sami Zayn or Shinsuke, maybe AJ.
My initial thought is Shinsuke. I wouldn't be surprised if Corbin wins it. Maybe they have him hold on to it until after WrestleMania when they get all that stuff out of their system.
I think it's probably going to be someone like either Sami Zayn or a Baron Corbin or someone who will use it right away, because what I'm hoping and my theory is that Money in the Bank, we're going to see Randy Orton get his rematch against Jinder Mahal, and as soon as the match is over, someone goes in, cashes in on Jinder Mahal to try and spice the angle up a little bit more.
Maybe.
Similar to what they did, I'm thinking they're going to do something similar to what they did with the Shield, how Dean Ambrose cashed in on Seth Rollins as soon as Seth Rollins had beat Roman Reigns for the WWE title, and that led to a Shield triple threat match at SummerSlam.
Cam is claiming that apparently Rusev might get added and will win, which I would be fine with. Yeah. I love Rusev. I would love to see Rusev get pushed into the main event. Same. I think Money in the Bank would be a great way to do that, so I would be all for that if that happened.
I could see him doing that and then going and winning the title from Jinder or Randy or something.
Rusev face turn.
Yeah.
I'd be behind it.
Well, I mean, I could see something, like I said, Randy happening to beat Jinder, and then Rusev come out, beat him, and then it's they both deserve rematches and blah, 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 and it keeps the story going. But
yeah. Moving on, then we got Charlotte and Becky Lynch versus Carmella and Natalya. I can't remember what happened in that match, because that whole angle was just blah.
Becky made someone tap out.
Carmella probably, maybe, or Natty. Then we had Sami Zayn versus Baron Corbin, which was really great for their angle. Sami Zayn basically won with a roll-up, which was great because he played off of Corbin's frustration for losing, and then Corbin went ballistic and beat the living crap out of Sami Zayn. Makes both guys look good. I'm all for it, and I am perfectly okay with it. I'm going to simulate this match, and then I'm going to simulate this match, and we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to let this main event just happen.
Yeah, I think we really need to just say what happened and just get to the game. So this is going pretty well.
We're going. We're fine. We're fine. Then we got the little celebration for Jinder Mahal, the championship celebration, which I heard was very true to the culture at least. But yeah, we've spoken in length about our thoughts on Jinder, so we'll move on from there. Then we had the nonsense with Breezango and the Usos, which was a weird thing. You had Breeze win over one of the Usos, then Fandango win over one of the Usos, and then they were like, oh, we deserve a championship match, and they did, and then the Usos won, so I guess that was just a way to get them out of the title picture.
Yeah, I guess
so that way when New Day comes, which must mean that New Day must be ready to come back by next week or this month, so that way they can get that program kick-started. Then what else did we have?
AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura versus Kevin Owens,
which was really cool. AJ and Nakamura won, and it was really cool to see AJ and Nakamura tag because they have a history, and it is amazing history. They battled at Wrestle Kingdom once, and it was off the chain. And I really hope they battle at WrestleMania this year, preferably for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. You can quickly run through NXT. It was just 3 matches.
Aleister Black beat Kurt Hawkins. The Velveteen Dream beat Robert Anthony.
How is
aka
that?
Local talent.
How is Patrick Clark's like new gimmick look? Is it good, bad? I didn't catch. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of.
I mean, it's interesting, but it doesn't. It seems like he's forcing it to work, and doesn't really work too great on him. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Drew McIntyre beat Wesley Blake.
Cool. Good stuff. It was one of those in arena shows, I believe, where it wasn't actual taping, so it really wasn't much storyline going on. It was just matches. Okay, so that is it for wrestling. I'm going to keep this belt on me though. I'm just going to switch shoulders.
Okay.
No, because this one's getting heavy. That's my bad shoulder.
Getting into video games. First thing we'll talk about. Overwatch has started its 1-year anniversary event, which started May 23rd. It added a bunch of new skins, some emotes, including everyone getting a dance. Some sprays, voice lines, all that stuff. As well as 3 new maps, Necropolis, Castillo, and Black Forest, which go along with 2 new modes, which are very interesting. There's a 3v3 elimination lockout match and the 1v1 limited match, or limited duel. Have you tried those at all?
I have not gotten a chance to play the anniversary edition yet. I wanted to last night, but then I was trying to troubleshoot some computer things. So I didn't get a chance to.
Well, just so you have a heads up, I'll go over what the modes are. The 3v3 one is really interesting because it's basically a 3v3 team in which you go for whoever gets 3 wins first over the course of however many rounds. But the thing is, whoever you choose, like let's say you have a team where it's whatever, Reaper, Lucio, and Widowmaker, for the heck of it, and you guys somehow win. With the next round, those 3 are no longer allowed to be picked by your team. So whatever
I've heard
characters
about that,
you choose to and you win as, you cannot play as throughout the rest of the match, which is interesting.
Very interesting, yeah.
And
I definitely
then,
am intrigued by that.
The new duel is basically when you go into it at the beginning of each round, they give you a choice between 3 characters. They only give you 3 options, and you have to choose one of those 3. Both you and your opponent have those same 3 choices, and whoever gets 5 wins first wins.
It's cool.
So
I like
new,
it.
interesting. I've been enjoying.
So I really need to get on to try it. I definitely am gonna be getting. I'm gonna be getting some loot crates. Definitely, thanks to you because you got me a gift card for my birthday.
You're welcome.
And I picked it up on PC, so I'm looking forward to the PC, playing the PC and getting on PS4 and opening up some loot boxes, seeing what I get. Dance emotes look really cool. The skins are kind of meh, but
I like the Genji and the
Genji looks like a Gundam.
and the Lucio.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of looks like Green Ranger.
Sort of, yeah. But it's really cool. And yeah, I'm excited. So that was our weekly Overwatch story, because it seems like we can't go an episode without a story breaking on Overwatch.
Yeah.
Next story, Red Dead Redemption 2 got delayed to 2018. But Rockstar allegedly apologized for the delay and is going to be providing a lot of information on the game over the summer and releasing screenshots.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sad because I want to play Red Dead Redemption 2, but when it's ready, and I'll be ready, to play it when it is ready.
Yeah.
Lots of the use of ready in that sentence.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's cool. I'm fine with it. I'm sure we'll get a lot of information at E3, so I'm pumped.
Yeah.
Moving on, a Mario / Rabbids crossover. For those who don't know, Rabbids are those crazy minion-like creatures who came out before the Minions did, from Ubisoft. It looks like it's going to be, an RPG?
Yeah, an RPG called like something Kingdom or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It looks interesting.
Yeah.
But
before we get to the final big story in gaming this week, I just want to also touch on one other thing. According to a report, I believe it was an earnings report or whatever, I've got the story right here, coming from Gematsu. Basically, yeah, based on the financial briefings for the fiscal year ending on March 31st from Square Enix, it's just coming out now, that it looks like the Final Fantasy VII Remake and Kingdom Hearts 3 are set to come out within, hopefully, by the end of the next 3 years.
yeah, that's a little insane.
So, wide window for those games, which seem like they've been in development forever.
Yeah.
And I believe they have. I believe, Kingdom Hearts 3 was revealed in 2012. the Final Fantasy VII remake the next year in 2013. So 5 and 4 years respectively. They've been it's been in development, those games, since their announcements. And it looks like we're gonna have to potentially wait another 3 years for those games if there aren't any other delays.
Yeah.
Which is upsetting because these seem like the games that will never come out. But then again, the last time this happened with a Square Enix title was Final Fantasy 15, and that was actually really good.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna have to wait.
Exactly.
All right, and then on to the big main story in video games.
I'm so excited.
I'll let you take over.
Far Cry 5 was announced with a teaser at first.
Teaser image.
Where not a teaser image, a little teaser video where it was basically they slowly zoomed in on a church where there was a bell ringing, and as it zooms in, you find out it's because there's some guy smashing someone else's head into the bell to ring it, and it just says "Welcome to Hope County, Montana."
Yeah, along with other scenic Montana shots.
Yeah. And then they came out with an image, which it looks like it's going to be the cover art for the game, where it's some preacher-looking dude with hunting glasses on, with a bunch of people around him in like a kind of Last Supper kind of thing, and there's like a plane fight in the background, and a building on fire, and there's a guy sitting cross-legged with his arms tied behind his back, with Sinner written across his back.
Mm-hmm.
And then they came out with the announcement teaser today.
Trailer this morning, yep.
Yeah. Which shows you all about Hope, Montana, and everything that's going on there, and this seemingly extreme Christian cult has taken over the area. And I am excited for it because I like Far Cry, and this is such an interesting story.
It's gonna be interesting. Basically, what it is I can't remember the first name of the character, but of the antagonist. But his last name is Seed, and he's a part of 3 siblings, and he is the leader of this religious flock that believes that the government is due to crumble soon. So he wants to protect his people, his flock, and so he's basically taken his religious fanatics and just taken over violently taken over this county, Hope County in Montana, and you play the role of a junior sheriff who goes into Hope County, gets cut off from the rest of the world, as happens with most protagonists in Far Cry, and you basically, as a sheriff, you're actually a law enforcement officer this time, so it actually makes sense.
Yeah.
It's up to you to set things right and, bring about justice and sanity, return sanity to Hope County.
Oh, I hope they don't show up there. That'd be bad for them. They've already got a religious cult. They don't need Eric Young.
Dun 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 dun. Okay, I'm done.
God.
So yeah, we also got to know from watching the IGN stream. We got to know a couple of the other characters. One is a African American pastor who did run a church in Hope County until the seedlings, as I will call them, showed up and kind of roughed stuff up and roughed up his church. And he has guns. He has a revolver and a shotgun. And he throws on body armor. It looks like he's ready to violently defend his church to save Hope County, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Then we also have this one female character who is a bartender, where the church, the seedlings, the Church of the Seeds, basically took his father, and I guess they marked him as a sinner and killed him. So she's out looking for revenge. She's seen in her little vignette video taking bottles of alcohol from the bar and turning them into Molotov cocktails to be used. And then the last guy is he's a pilot. He works on a plane, which I believe you will probably be using to fly around Hope County. And he just wants to help stop Seed's followers and the Seed Church. And he is I believe they said in IGN that he was called to a sense of duty because both his father and grandfather served in the military.
Okay.
So that's just a taste of the NPCs and I guess the main secondary characters that your character will be running into and interacting with during the course of the game.
Yeah.
So.
Seems very interesting, and I'm very excited for it.
Very exciting. We got the full teaser on today. I don't believe there was a release window, was there, with the teaser?
I think there might have been. I just don't recall.
Which makes me believe that if we didn't, I'm pretty sure we will get a release window along with an actual gameplay segment, probably to end. Actually, probably not to end. Probably to kick off Ubisoft's E3 press conference. They'll probably kick it off with a gameplay demo of Far Cry 5, and then they'll surprise everybody by closing out their thing with
Surprise.
yeah, surprising everyone at the end of their conference with Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's our final video game piece for the day.
Yep.
This main event is still simming, but it's NXT, guys. You don't have to worry about it that much. We don't until we start potentially maybe doing extra topics and Patreon stuff. We're just letting this go as is. We don't have any custom stories set up. We just wanted some gameplay for you guys to help keep you guys entertained while we did this.
Yep.
That is the end of episode 8 of the Super Grapple Bros podcast. Hopefully things with the W title will get better as we go forward. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Murpho.
I've been DMurph.
Take care, guys, and we will see you all next week. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And do not forget, we are on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Twitch. Twitch.tv/L_Murpho. I'll say that again because I screwed that up. Twitch.tv/L_Murpho. YouTube.com/LMurphoReal. And then we are also Super Grapple Bros on both iTunes and SoundCloud. So be sure to check us out in all those various forms there, guys. If you want to watch us live, come to Twitch. If you want to watch us on VOD, you can do Twitch or YouTube. And if you want to listen to us in the car or on your commute, or however you go about doing things, you can find us on iTunes and SoundCloud to listen to us audio-wise. And that's all.
Yep.
Take care, guys. We will see you all next week.
Peace.
Deuces. Again, I'm confused about which way the deuce goes.
Out the butt.
Good night, everybody. Take care. So long.
Bye.
Shut up and sit down.